Hello and welcome to the show. This is Everything Under the Sun. My name is Ty. Hope all of you are enjoying life the best way you know how to. It's been a crazy few weeks, kind of just a lot of things going on, nothing bad, just time constraints and things like that with projects and things going on. But, all good things. I think that when we start going back into like different hobbies or things that maybe we've put down or projects that we've put down, we feel a sense of more empowerment as we start to do those more or start to kind of complete those projects. So that's kind of the state I've been in, kind of getting back in the groove of doing some things that I've been wanting to do for a while. So that's been really great. Speaking of things that I've been wanting to do or things that I've done, I watched this TikTok video, and I'm sure many of you have heard of TikTok, but I don't have one personally, but you see videos floating around. There's this video of this woman that was speaking about how to get like the last bit of sauce out of your bottle. And basically she's speaking about, like you hold the bottle upside down, close the cap, and spin it around in circles, kind of using centrifugal force to cause all the rest of your sauce to get to the bottom of the container or the top of the container where you can kind of squeeze it out. So I was like, this is a brilliant idea. A few weeks had passed, like I saw this a few weeks ago. A few weeks had passed, and my sriracha started going low, which I recently, or actually a little bit ago, found out it's sriracha, Srira. You get the rest. Sriracha. Anyway, I was running out of sriracha, and I decided to try to do this. I close the cap of the sriracha, and I start spinning the bottle. I get like a good few spins in before I start hearing this noise. And I'm like, what's that noise? And I don't know if I was closing my eyes or just not paying attention, but as I looked, I started seeing just like sriracha everywhere as I was spraying it. So the cap had come unloose and it was just like spraying little like drips of sriracha everywhere. So now I'm just like finding sriracha everywhere in the kitchen. It's been a week now and I'm still just finding like splatters that I'm like, how did the splatter even get here? But that's something that happened. And to top it all off, I bought some cinnamon rolls. They're these plant-based cinnamon rolls that I just discovered by Annie's. Annie's, many of you may have heard about Annie's products. They come out with like macaroni and cheese or like just different types of foods. They have cinnamon rolls, Annie's cinnamon rolls, and they're plant-based, they're vegan. All the cream and everything is all plant-based, but I bought this container. It's my first time trying it, and I open it up. It's kind of like one of those biscuit things where you, like the Pillsbury biscuits, where you unravel the paper and you press the spoon down and, it's supposed to explode open and then you put them out. So I did the same thing. I start unraveling this paper, and I don't even get halfway through the unraveling process before this can explodes. And cinnamon chunks are just flying everywhere. Like it sprays all over my face. There's cinnamon everywhere in the kitchen. Like it's kind of like it's just topping off all the sriracha. So it was definitely like an experience. And I mean the cinnamon rolls came out great, but I'm still just seeing little spots of cinnamon. Like this morning, I like found some cinnamon on the mirror that was like kind of in the kitchen. But yeah, it was just cinnamon explosion, sriracha explosion. There's just so much. I did a post recently about abundance and just how that comes into our life in different ways. And as I was thinking about just abundance, I'm like, maybe I'm just getting an abundance of sriracha and cinnamon right now, but it caused an abundance of laughter. I laughed a lot. It was definitely enjoyable. I think about those moments too where it's like things like that happen and some people will get so pissed off or so upset about it, or it would just kind of like ruin their night. And maybe at one point that was the same situation with me. Like it probably would have made me very upset. And both times with those situations, it just made me laugh. And the sriracha sprayed on like this white carpet that I just bought. It was definitely not really the best thing, but it brought laughter because what can you do? It's just a situation that just happened. So that's something that happens. And I think just in general, as we think about abundance or think about things that we want to start bringing into our lives, start noticing those small ways in which they may come into our lives. So if we want more time with ourselves, maybe those short breaks or those moments that we actually start noticing that we have that time is just a great thing to notice that you are manifesting that, you're bringing that into your life. And it may come in small ways, but as you start to acknowledge that you are bringing those things into your life, then it brings you more power in realizing that you can start bringing things into your life that you want to bring into your life. So But I'm going to get right into it. I think today's topic, choices slash decisions, is something that's so big because it really engulfs many aspects of our lives. So I'm going to shake this box up. Thank you so much for everyone that's sending me topics and emails. Again, like these past couple weeks have been a little hectic, but I have gotten the emails. I have written down your topics, and those are all there. Even if I haven't responded to your messages, I have received them. So know that they've been received, and I will hopefully get to those shortly. And also just like inform everyone of the topics that are going into the box because, again, I haven't done that in so long. Anyway, the topic that was drawn for next week is technology. And, I think that as we think about many aspects of just social media, as we think about just the technological age that we are in right now, technology is really shaping our culture and shaping our world in radical ways. And I think that we don't even notice it because we are enmeshed in it. But I think there are many people that are born and have experienced a life before this massive influx of technology has just kind of consumed everyone's life. So we can start seeing the changes in which technology has just radically transformed the way that we move and act as people. So technology, probably a very, very interesting subject as I think about it now, but that's going to be a topic for next week. And as I said, the topic for this week is choices slash decisions, which is something that we are all familiar with because we've all had to make some kind of choice or decision within our lives, and it's led us to this very point that we are right now. So as I was thinking about this episode, I came across a lot of different quotes, and there were 3 quotes that I think work best with going along with this topic as I was thinking about the subject. So to start this off, this is the first quote. Everything you do is based upon the choices you make. It's not your parents, your past relationships, your job, the economy, the weather, an argument, your sex, or your age that is to blame. You and only you are responsible for every choice and decision you make. And that quote, I think it just speaks volumes to just the fact that we all have our own choices and we have to make those ourselves. We're responsible for that. And although these other things may impact the way in which we make our choices, we are responsible for those choices that we make. And we all have choices. We all have to realize the choice that we have. And sometimes it's not always very present, the choices that we have to choose from. And that's kind of where this topic becomes so important, because as we start going through life and we have to make certain choices, we realize that the choices can lead to happiness or despair, and everything in between. And as we realize that the choice that we make and the decisions that we make are going to shape the next step of our lives, we have to think a little more critically about what those choices are going to be. And the biggest part of making those choices and decisions is realizing that we have those choices. And I think that that's something that's so big, is that like there are so many times that we have a situation that we're in and we feel like we have to choose between the lesser of two evils. And a lot of times we can make a decision and not realize that maybe there were other choices. And of course, hindsight is 2020, but hindsight is only 2020 because we've realized that there was another option, there was another opportunity, there was another chance that we could have made, or another decision that we could have made that would alter the circumstances. But at the end of the day, what's done is done, and it's that learning lesson that tells us to kind of realize, maybe in the moment, how to explore all the possibilities and all the choices that we do have so we can make the best one that's for us. And it's something that's just really amazing. I mean, just the idea that we even have the ability to make choices and have choices, because there's so many people in the world that don't have the right or the freedom to express their choices. I mean, they may have choices, but their choice may be either to follow this rule or this legislation or death. And that's not something that many of us have to deal with in our day-to-day lives. And it's very fortunate that we don't have to, but it's a realization and a reality for many, many people. So it's not just in the making of the choice or decisions, but it's also the realization, the valuing of the fact that we even have the ability to do that. And if you're listening to this podcast, then you probably have a lot more freedom of choice than many people. And I mean, even in the United States and first world countries, we are still fighting for rights and freedoms to do many things for many different groups of people. So this is something that we have to fight for our choices. We have to fight to have our choices. We have to realized that, humanity comes with the freedom of will, and with will comes choice. So, like, I was cooking the other night, and out loud, I don't know if I was making a stir fry or I was just seasoning it, but out loud I said, choices are the best. And of course, choices are the best, choices are amazing, but it made me also realize that me saying that was me saying something that I know there are a lot of other people that don't have the opportunity or don't have the ability to say. And this is the ability to say that you have choices. And that's something that's just so big. So as we think about this idea of making choices and decisions, recognize just like the privilege it is to be able to do that. And also when we are confronted with a situation where we are having our choices or decisions taken from us, I think that's the time to recognize what we want to do in order to get that choice or decision back for us. And I think that's kind of just as we think about making change and making things in the light of what we want to see it as, I think that's kind of something that we have to take into a critical eye. What do we want for ourselves? What are the choices that we want for ourselves? And do we have the freedom to express those choices or have those choices? So choices are amazing. Making decisions and the ability to do that is something that's really amazing. And as we have more freedom to do those, we have more opportunity to understand ourselves a bit more, because we can embark on different journeys that will lead us down different paths that may bring us closer to who we truly want to be or where we truly want to be in life. So, second quote: you are free to choose, but you are not free from the consequences of your choice. And I think that's something that's so big, because we can choose all we want. We can make choices and decisions all we want, but we have to face those consequences. We have to realize that we have to live with our choices and decisions that we make. And when I say that we have to live with our choices and decisions, it doesn't mean that we have to hold on to them, because that's not it at all. We don't have to hold on to a choice or decision that maybe wasn't the best for us or maybe didn't turn out the best. There are so many of us that will make a decision that will, radically change a situation, and maybe not for the best. And we hold on to that for years and years and years, not allowing us to progress anymore, because it's holding us down, it's weighing us back, it's keeping us from taking that next step or choosing that next choice that can bring us out of the darkness. But it's not until we realize that we don't have to hold on to it, we just have to live with it. And I know that sounds kind of like contradictory, but living with the choice that you make, it's not saying that you have to keep yourself down or keep your energy down because of it. It's the fact that it happened and it cannot be undone. What happened, happened. Apologies can be said, but the words that came out, can't be undone. So no matter what, like, things can be amended, things can be changed if you want them to change, but what happened, happened. And we have to live with those choices, and we have to live with those decisions that we make. But again, not to hold on to us, not to allow those things to bog us down, but to allow us to know more about ourselves, know more about the things that we truly want for ourselves. Because as we make decisions and as we make choices, we're not always going to make the best ones. Like, we cannot always make the best decisions because we don't know what that decision is going to entail. There are pros and cons to every situation and every choice that we decide to embark on, or every choice that we decide on, but at the end of the day, we can never truly know what that will bring for us. So, I mean, that's where that idea is, hindsight is 2020, because we can experience something from a decision that we make and realize, oh, maybe that wasn't the best thing. But again, don't hold on to it, but live with it. Allow that decision, allow that choice to drive you in a different direction, to move you and propel you into the direction that you want to be in. We live with our decisions, not in spite of them, not, holding on to that pain of it. We live with it and allow us to move and give us better judgment in that next situation. Because, I mean, hindsight is 2020, but as you gain that hindsight, as you gain that clarity of that vision, of that choice, you are bringing that clarity into that next decision that you make, into that next choice, into that realization that maybe you have another choice. And something that you would not have discovered if you didn't make that bad decision. And I say bad in quotes, because no decision is no decision is truly bad or wrong or a waste in any type of way. Because at the end of the day, it's like, again, it's all teaching us the things that we want for ourselves, teaching us things that we want in that next step that we make. I mean, whether it's like, I've spoken about this before, as we go down different paths and as we go down different journeys to maybe our goals and the things that we aspire towards, you can go down this path, choosing different choices along this path, and realize that, I actually don't want any of this. That is not a waste. Like some people can feel like, I've dedicated 5 years of my life towards this, and, now I'm gonna, just turn around and end it all. That's okay. That's you had made a choice to take a step in that direction, and you made multiple choices along that way that led you to the realization that within yourself, within your heart of hearts, you did not truly want that for yourself, or maybe you wanted it to look a little different. And it's okay to choose to take a step in a different direction. There are no bad choices. As we make a choice and we make a decision and it maybe didn't turn out as well as we thought it would have, that gives us more knowledge. It's like it gives us more understanding that if I do the same thing again, it will not end up in the way that I want it to. We can shape our future by realizing the mistakes of our past, by realizing the decisions and the choices of our past, but don't let them bog you down. Don't let them weigh you down, because you will not be able to take that next step. We have choices, and one of our choices is the choice to start something new, to start over. We always have that choice. And it may be a little more difficult in other situations, but always remember that you have that choice. And I think that when we realize that we have that choice, it brings us more empowerment. But when we don't realize we have that choice, we feel stuck. We feel confounded by our situation, by our circumstances, stuck between a rock and a hard place, not knowing that we can go forward instead of just side to side. We have so many different opportunities to make choices that are more in line with who we truly are, but we don't know who we truly are unless we take these different steps in these different directions to figure out who that is. So understand yourself more by making the choices that you feel are right for you. And if you make a mistake, maybe you make a choice that you didn't feel that you actually wanted to make, that's okay. Now you know for the next step. Now you know the next time. And of course, the damage may be done already. And it can be very hard to let go of that, or to not carry that with you. But even if you carry that with you, even if you hold it with you, I mean, you have to live with your decisions. So you are going to always carry that with you and hold that with you, but it doesn't mean it has to be a load that's weighing you down. It could be a force that's driving you in a different direction. That emotion, that pain, that from whatever experience it was, that use that as your driving force to move into the place that you want to be. Because we always have that choice. We have the choice to just stay in our sadness. We have a choice to just stay in that space of regret of that decision. Or we have that choice to use that pain, use that sadness, use that energy that's coming from that, and direct it towards something that we know is good for us. Mothers Against Drunk Driving, MADD, many people may have heard of that. The woman that organized that was a mother that had lost their child. And that pain, she could have just stayed and wallowed in it. Maybe she could have regretted buying him a car ever. But it's like, at the end of the day, she decided to take that choice and turn it into an organization that has saved thousands and thousands of lives because of, preventing drunk driving. And I think that as we think about these decisions and these choices that we have the opportunity to make, that is something that's just like highlighting that we can choose to stay exactly where we are. We can choose to live in the exact way that we're living right now, even if it brings us unhappiness. But there is also that choice to move towards our own happiness and move towards the things that we truly want for ourselves, despite the choices that we've made in the past. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing that is about choices, because we get so wound up in the mistakes that we've made that we can't move forward, that we can't choose a different route, or we can't see that we can choose a different route. And we always have that choice. So choose what's best for you, but recognize that you can move with your past decisions, and those past decisions can help you to become stronger. They will help you become stronger, but not if you don't allow them to. Not if you don't allow them to be the strength. If you allow them to continue to cripple you, then that's what they will do. But if you allow them to be your strength and your decisions to move forward in a different route, then that is going to bring you so much empowerment. This last quote and final quote, which I think is probably the best quote to end this off with, is, May your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. Move towards the things that feel good for you. Move towards the things that are part of that dream that you have within your head, that dream of happiness, that dream of connection, that dream of whatever it is that you have a dream of, move towards that. Move towards your hopes and aspirations, and all the things that are telling you not to take that step because you're afraid of it, because it may not work out, because it may be another bad choice. Remove those. Take that step because you know it's something that feels good for you. Take that step because you know it's something that's right for who you know that you want to become. And if that next step doesn't have the expected consequences or expected outcomes, then take another step. We have all our lives to take these steps to really discover who we are and where we want to be. So have that confidence and empower yourself to make those choices, because as we make more choices, as we build more confidence in our choices, we start to trust ourselves more. And there's something that's so big about trusting yourself, where we can start losing trust in ourselves. We can start relying on other people to make choices for us, to make decisions for us. We turn to other people and it's like, what should I do in this situation? Now, of course, there's one thing asking for advice. Maybe you're tumbling around with like some different choices in your head, and you're just like trying to get maybe a third party perspective, because again, looking outside of the box can allow you to see other opportunities and choices. So as we speak about these things to other people that we love and care about and that we can have these conversations with, you may even realize more choices that you have than before. But also, don't always just go to people to make those decisions for you, because they're thinking about it from their perspective. A lot of times it's hard to truly put yourself in someone else's shoes, because they don't know your wants, they don't know your desires, they don't know that intrinsic motivation that is driving whatever that decision or that choice is. So you can ask for advice and bring other people in to recognize more choices that you may have, but ultimately make that choice for yourself. And when you do, again, you start building more trust in yourself, and you're building more trust in the fact that you can make choices for yourself, and that you can make the decisions that are right for you and that are going to bring you to where you want to be, because you've built that trust and that rapport with yourself. Just like if you go to a friend and they keep constantly giving you bad advice, you're probably going to stop going to that friend. I mean, at least I would hope so. But if you go to, someone and they keep telling you good advice, or maybe they are just like a good friend in general, you're going to keep going to that person. The same thing has to happen with yourself. As you make certain decisions and those choices, you have to stand by yourself. Recognize that those are the choices that you made, and that when they go as you wanted to, empower yourself with that knowledge. Know that you can move forward and you can make decisions on your own, and they can bring you happiness or bring you closer to where you want to be. So again, that last quote, because I feel like it's something great to end this off with: may your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. And this is a quote by Nelson Mandela. So yeah, that's all I got for this one. Hope all of you continue to make the choices that are best for you. If you choose to send any topics in, or thoughts or ideas about this episode, or anything else that's been spoken about in this podcast, you can send those to everything.sunpodcast@gmail.com. You can also send them to any of the social media pages. Like, I've gotten a few through social media, and that is perfectly fine. I've gotten asked if that was okay. Yes, totally fine if you send it through social media as well. Email, social media, whatever is easier for you. You can join the Facebook page at Everything Under the Sun with Ty, the Instagram page, everything.sunpodcast, or you can join the Twitter page at everysunpodcast. And yeah, that's just about it. So, I love you all, and I will see you next time.